Today's video is a quick hack to show you how I mount flat back wood carvings on a wall. I do carvings like this that have flat backs, but I've always struggled to find a way that I'm happy with to mount them directly onto a wall. In the early days I was using these little brass wall plates. The problem I was finding was that they don't fit flush against the carving, so when you mount them on the flat on the carving never sits nicely against the wall. So what I was doing was literally drawing round and recessing them into the back of the carving. I don't like them anyway, they don't look very nice, they look a bit messy on the back of a carving. Once you've actually recessed it into the carving, then you have to scoop out the bit where the screw fits in on there. So what I was hoping to find was a solution that allowed me to put this shape directly onto the back of the carving in the wood. I did actually manage to find a cutter that fit into a router. This was quite a fierce thing that you put in, and obviously at router speed it kind of wandered off and made a cut a lot deeper than you wanted it to be. And quite often, rather than going straight up, it kind of shot off to an angle. I even tried it in the drill, but to get a really good line on it, I really struggled to get it to work. So I kind of gave up on that in the end. So I was sat here staring at a screw the other day, thinking, that's the screw that I want to mount it on the wall. So it'd be really good if I could turn that into some sort of a cutter. Just wondered if I could do it. So I came up with that. And it actually works. So this is the tools I used to make this. It's a hacksaw, or a hacksaw blade as I used here, and a couple of little files. Pretty much anything you've got that's something like this would do the trick. So I basically took the hacksaw and cut 4 cuts around the head of the screw. Then I tried this, and these need to be slightly wider than the width of the hacksaw blade, otherwise they block. So that's where the files come in. So once you've made the initial cut, this one, as you can see, is tapered, so it's ideal for this. Literally just open up that enough, and then this is a flatter one just to make this wider. As you can see, that's a bit wider than a hacksaw blade, and then that opens it up enough. So I've cut in 4 cuts all the way around. I then just use the file to try and put some sort of an edge on here. It hasn't got to be blistering sharp, and then obviously, just as you would a knife, sharpen a knife, literally sharpen those edges over a little tiny bit, just so you've got a cutting edge on these. I then took the hacksaw blade again and went in deeper on 2 of the cuts. So as you can see here, it's cut into the thread. Now this is the bit that creates the line underneath. So these cut the head, so the actual first bit of the cut, and then that allows it cuts its way through and cuts like a groove in it as well. I'll show you on the carving in a minute. So it's important that you go and cut those ones out as well. So one there, as you can see, there's not one there, there's one there. So that was my very first attempt with it. The head of these screws, and they are 4x30 screws. So the head of these screws are 8mm. So I just drill an 8mm hole in there, and then I actually, don't drop it, I actually mount this into the drill itself, and that goes in, spin the drill and literally push it up to where it needs to go. And as you can see, that holds itself. So that's exactly what I was after. Now that was cut, like I say, the first one I did. I found a better way to make sure that it goes exactly where you want it to go. So I'll just quickly talk about that as well. So as you can see here, I've drilled out my 8mm hole, and what I do is I just mark out where I want that line to be, and I've got these small flex cut gouges that actually work quite well here, because I can decide exactly where I want that to be and then just make a line, and that way I know it's going to go that way. So then I've mounted me cutter in the drill, and then get it going. As you can see, it's cut its way in. So if I now put a screw in there, it fits nicely. So I thought about this, and just in case you haven't got any small gouges like that one, I had a little play around. You can mark that out, and if you're carving, you're going to have one of these. So I do the same thing, and I just put in like a nice deep V cut. Just to give me a channel, so I know it's going to go that way. So I just cut that down, just so I know it's going to go the way I want it to. This was the trouble I had with the other one, the purchased cutter. It was just too sharp, and it kind of literally ripped its way through and ended up disappearing. Right, so we've got a little channel there now, and you don't want to force it to start with. You just want to go nice and steady and let it cut in first. There you go, it's following that channel nicely. You end up with that, and that mounts in there lovely. And just to prove that it works in different types of wood as well, for my own sake, because I carve in all sorts of different harder woods. This is sycamore, this is cherry, which is extremely hard, and I've even got some oak here, which it works fine in also. So the type of wood doesn't seem to matter too much. So I'm going to put one in the back of this fella now. I've already worked out my centre point of there where I want it to be. Got me 8mm drill bit. A little bit deeper. Perfect. Clean that up. Perfect. So where do we want that to go? That looks pretty straight there. I'm going to use the gouge because I've got one. One thing I will mention is be careful when you're putting it in the drill, because what I usually do with the drill bit is to hold it and then do that, and obviously you've just created a cutter on there, so you might regret that. So in we go, nice and steady, follow that line. There we go, nice mounting point. Bit fluffy, tidy that up. Just give that a quick tidy up if you get any fluffy bits. So obviously the last thing you need is a screw in the wall. Put it on and down. There you go. I was very excited when I worked this out, so hopefully you'll find it useful too.